Skidoo here. I want to talk with you today about um, the connection between Tracer and Torbjorn's dance emotes. They are related to each other. It's a very interesting history. Let's get into it. So, and look at that. They're right next to each other. That's fun. So first, let's check out Tracer and her dance emote. Let's do a more... That's so funny. Let's do more traditional skin. Why not? So, Tracer has this dance emote. It is called the Charleston. Okay, you do these kicks, that right there, that's all Charleston. That little side-to-side shuffle, I've never seen that in Charleston. Regardless, Tracer is doing a dance called the Charleston. It is from the 1930s and 40s. It is the precursor, or you might also call it the grandfather, to a dance that I know and love called the Lindy Hop. So, as someone who's been doing Lindy Hop for 10 plus years, I know how to do Charleston, Lindy Hop, Balboa, Jitterbug, lots of these different vintage swing dances is what they're called. So, number one is this. This is the Charleston. Charleston came first, and then evolved into the Lindy Hop. Later, we get a different dance. This comes from, it was from, who was it from? Let's get a more, let's just do the classic. It comes from the, so the period of time is this. There are these waltz clubs where you would go to these waltz clubs, and they were right around the time of Lindy Hop, and you would, they were fairly prestigious to get into them. Well, there were these kids who wanted to go in and like practice and do waltz, because dancing was like one of the only fun things to do back then. You barely had radio, definitely no TV. And so they're sitting on the street, you know, just lamenting that they couldn't get into these dance clubs for waltz specifically. And so what they do on the street is they start making fun of the waltz. And it becomes its own dance. That dance would later become known as the Shag or the Carolina Shag. Now, let's look at Torbjorn's. This not so much, this not so much. This is it. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so it's modified. But the 2 hops on one side, 2 hops on the other side, and then the hop hop, that is meant to mirror or make fun of the waltz. So Charleston, which would turn into Lindy Hop, was at the same time as this waltz, which would turn into the Carolina Shag. Very interesting stuff. So I had just seen somebody do a gif of this part here and thought, oh, they're doing the Shag, which is another vintage swing dance right at the same time as the Charleston. So, kind of odd, but they are related. They are linked in that they existed around the same time, and they had the same, I would call it personality, a jester type personality, to have fun, not take yourself seriously. That's why Tracer is all funky and spunky when she's doing it. That's why Torbjorn is so jolly. It's different than, and let's pull up Reinhardt now, because Reinhardt is doing the waltz. Look at that. There's a seriousness about it, a formality to it. Oh yeah. So, he's doing the waltz there. And then let's show it. Let's have Torbjorn come in and do his Shag. And it might be difficult to see, but for waltz it's like step together step, step together step. It's hard to illustrate without being live in person, but there is direct influence from the waltz in this shag dance. So, there you have it. Little piece of fun trivia you can whip out at a party. And you all have a good evening. And hopefully I will be back. Later for some random heroes. Oh, mystery heroes. I keep calling it wrong.